Before we begin, we are going to review just a little bit with how we expand and factor a quadratic function, just because we are going to be using these skills today, and I just wanted to refresh what we've already talked about. So the first couple ones I want to go through and remind you how we were expanding, so going from factored form to the expanded form. So remember when we talked about using a couple different methods, I showed you how to use the FOIL method. We also use the box method. So if we're expanding these binomials, I'm going to do FOIL first for this one. Let me get my pen working first. Okay, so I'm going to use the FOIL method here. So I'm going to do the first ones, so it would be a 2x squared. The outside ones would be 2x and a negative 3, so negative 6x. The inside ones would be the negative 6 and the x. And then the last ones would be negative 6 and negative 3, so a positive 18. And then I'm going to combine those two middle terms, so it'd be 2x squared minus 12x plus 18. And then let's just review if I want to use the box method on something like this. We'll just go negative 4x on top and 7, 2x, negative 1. So the first box would be a negative 8x squared. Next box would be 14x. This would be a 4x. And then I'm going to get negative 7. So I'm going to combine like terms, negative 8x squared. Combine these together to be 18x and then minus 7. So that's how you go from the binomial to the expanded form of it. Now factoring from that expanded form, we're going to go the opposite direction. So these two that I have listed are just pretty basic trinomials. We do not have a coefficient in front of the x squared. So this is just thinking we use the x method where we're looking to see what multiplies to be negative 21 and adds to be 4. So I know that it has to be a positive and a negative in order to multiply and be a negative. So I know one's positive, one's negative, and I know the bigger one has to be positive in order for that middle term to be positive. So the two numbers I think of that can multiply to be 21 and add to be 4 would be 7 and a 3. So the 3 would have to be the negative one, and the 7 would have to be the positive. So I'd get x minus 3 and x plus 7. Same deal over here. I'm thinking what two numbers multiply to be 36 and add to be negative 15? It would have to be two negatives in order for this to be a positive when multiplied and a negative on the bottom when I add them. And the two numbers, when I think about factors of 36, what I think of would be a 12 and a 3 in order to get that negative 15. So x minus 12 and x minus 3. So we're going to use those two skills as we get into this lesson. And what we're doing today is we are going to be looking at how we can create a graph of a quadratic function by identifying key points. So we're going to be learning some new things with how we can use the equations to help us find important parts on the graph, and then also use some of the things that we've already talked about to help us graph them. So this helps us to just really get a little bit deeper understanding of what the parts of the quadratic graph are and what they might tell us, especially as we get into some word problems that go with quadratic relationships. So I'm going to walk through a few important points that we can use when we're doing a graph of a quadratic relationship. Some of those really important points that are going to show up. So sometimes, depending on what we're looking for, you're going to want to use the expanded form of the equation, and sometimes you're going to need the factored form of the equation to get some other points. And that's why we reviewed at the beginning how to get both of those. So first one here, I'm going to walk you through the different points. When I am looking for the y-intercept, I'm going to use the expanded form. So if I have the expanded form, it's really easy to see what the y-intercept is. The y-intercept is going to be the number without the variable. Kind of like when we had our y equals mx plus b form, the number without the variable, like let's say it was 2x plus 5. remember how this was the y-intercept when we were doing the linear relationships? It's really a very similar thing when I have the quadratic relationship equation. So this 3 means that my y-intercept is going to be at 0, 3. So I'm going to rate it as a coordinate point because my y-intercept is a coordinate. So whatever that number is, that last number listed, is going to be the y-intercept. Okay, so just identify that point. So there's one point that I'll be able to graph. Next part, we talked about this just the other day. So what we can use this expanded form for as well is to identify the vertex. So remember, the process for identifying the vertex is we need to first find the line of symmetry, or the axis of symmetry, by doing negative b over 2a. So I'm going to take negative b, that's this one, so negative 4 over 2 times a. There's no number here, but it's a 1, so 2. So my line of symmetry is negative 2, so x is negative 2. So that's actually the x coordinate of my vertex. Then I'm going to plug the negative 2 into the equation to get the y coordinate. So I'm replacing all of the x's with the negative 2. So I would get negative 2 squared, which is 4. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. Plus 3 is going to be negative 4 plus 3. I get a negative 1. So here's another point that I would graph. That would be the vertex of the parabola. Next point, or these will actually be a couple points. This time we are going to need the factored form. And I'll explain why that's going to help us, but let's factor this first. So if I'm thinking it has to multiply to be 3 and add to be 4, I know there's not a lot of factors to get 3, and in fact it's just 1 and 3. So if I factor this, it's going to be x plus 1 and x plus 3. So just like this was equal to y, I'm going to write it like this. So y is equal to, it's just a factored form of writing it, x plus 1 and then times the x plus 3. So now if you think about a graph, when I'm finding those x-intercepts, if I have an x-intercept anywhere along here on my x-axis, the thing that I know about any of these points is that the y value has to be equal to 0, because right here, that y value is 0. So what I can do is think about it as those x-intercepts, to solve them, that y value has to be equal to 0. So there's a couple spots that I can see that are, or a couple x values that I can find that would make that y value equal to 0. So if you think about what I know about when I multiply by 0, I can either have this chunk be equal to 0, or I can have this parenthesis equal to 0. Because as long as one of the factors of this is equal to 0, this whole thing on the right will be equal to 0. So you got to think, okay, what would make one of the parentheses equal to 0? So let's look at the first parenthesis. To make the first parenthesis, so the one I have boxed in, equal to 0, I would need that x to be a negative 1. Because if I did that, see how, well, I'd even put negative 1 here. See how I'd get 0 here, and negative 1 plus 3 is a negative, oh goodness, screwing up here, is a 2. So that would be equal to 0. So the x value could be equal to negative 1. So I know that one of the x-intercepts would be at negative 1, 0. Now if I look at the second parenthesis, what would make that second parenthesis equal to 0? Well, that x would have to be negative 3. Because when I add negative 3 plus 3, that's going to make it equal to 0. So my other x-intercept is negative 3, 0. So once you get in a factored form, what you're looking for is what x value would make this parenthesis equal to 0, and then the second parenthesis. It's always going to be the opposite of what you see inside of there. So then, these are the 3 points. I listed out what we figured out already. So the identified points we already have are y-intercept of 3. So I'm going to actually plot that. There it is. My vertex is at negative 2, negative 1. My x-intercept is at negative 3, 0. and negative 1, 0. Now, once I get these 4 points, those are the main 4 points, but I can always find one more point because I can use symmetry of the parabola to find one more point. So I would know that if this point's here, there's also going to be a point right here. See how that has to be symmetrical? And now it just makes my parabola, oh, totally miss those points. Whoa, that was not good. Okay, so you can use symmetry to find that one other point. So we're going to go through another one of these so you can see what this looks like. So I'm going to start first. I know my y-intercept has to be equal to the 6. So 0, 6. So I'm going to go up, plot that. There we go. Next one, we are going to go and we are going to find the line of symmetry, which is negative 7 over 2a, so 2. So I get negative 3.5. Then I'm going to go and I'm going to plug that all in. So I just have to go back and fix my mistake here because this was a negative b. So when I go negative b, this would actually be a positive and this would be a positive. There we go. Almost made a mistake. So a positive 3.5. I'm going to plug 3.5 into the equation. So 3.5 squared minus 7 times 3.5 plus 6. So I'm going to get, there's my x value. When I plug that all in, I get negative 6.25. So I'm going to go over to 3.5 in between and down to negative 6.25. Okay, so then I am going to find my factored form of this. So I'm going to go and I'm going to say, when I expand this, or when I think of the two numbers that multiply to be 6 and add to be negative 7, would be a negative 6 and a negative 1. So my two 0 values are going to be 6 would make this one 0, so 6, 0. And then the 1, 0 would make that one. So let's plot those. So here's 1 and here's 6. And then I would be able to see one more of these points right there. Here's my parabola. There you go. Okay, one more here. This time I'm going to go from factored form. So I can start first with my 0. So to make that first parenthesis 0 would be a negative 3. So my y-intercept, or my x-intercept there. Second parenthesis to make that would be a 2. So it'd be 2, 0. So negative 3, 0, and 2, 0. Then I'm going to actually go and I'm going to expand it. So I'd get x squared. I'm going to use FOIL. First, outside would be a negative 2x. Inside would be 3x. And then the 3 times negative 2 would be negative 6. Put that together, I get x squared plus 1x minus 6. And then I am going to use that to find my y-intercept, which would be the negative 6. So y-intercept is at negative 6, 0. So that would be down here. And then I can find my line of symmetry, which is going to be b, which is 1, divided by 2a, which is 2. So half, or 0.5. And then when I plug the 0.5 in there, so I'm going to, I could plug it into the factored form or the other one, 0.5 squared plus 1, or so it would be a 0.5 minus 6. I'm going to end up with, oh, this was supposed to be a negative. Almost made that mistake again. B is positive, so negative b would be a negative. So I'd get a negative 0.5. When I plug it in for the x, I'm going to get negative 6.25. So negative half, negative 6.25. And then again, I can find one more point. It would actually end up being this one from the symmetry of a parabola. So see how I can fill that one in right there. So biggest things that you need to remember is that from the factored form, we're going to get our x-intercepts. The y-intercept and the vertex you are going to get from the expanded form, and then you will find one more point to get a fifth point based on the symmetry of a parabola.